Welcome back to the Garden with Joy and Holly radio show. Thank you for being with us for the show. We got time to the top of the hour for your garden questions, our garden answers. If you want to be a part of that, send us an email, gardentalkradio@gmail.com, gardentalkradio@gmail.com, or you can give us a ring-a-ding-ding on the Proclamation Hotline, brought to you by Proclamation Goods. That number, toll-free, coast to coast, 1-800-927-SHOW, 1-800-927-7469.
Proclamation Goods creates cookware for the eco-conscious home chef. Their pans are non-toxic, have a lifetime warranty, and are made right in Wisconsin. Their award-winning stainless steel Proclamation Duo cookware set doubles as a 12-inch skillet and a stock pot that doubles as a wok. Best of all, the skillet and stock pot hinge together to form a Dutch oven. It's 2 pans with the versatility of 10, empowering you to cook more with less. If you care about your health and strive for a more sustainable lifestyle, Proclamation Goods is for you. You can find out more at proclamationgoods.com.
Number again, 1-800-927-SHOW or gardentalkradio@gmail.com. Holly, the first question is sponsored by Fleet Farm and fleetfarm.com, and it goes as follows. What about feeding diseased plant material to chickens or to goats? And have them compost it when they eat it? Is there anything wrong with that? Well, sort of. It really comes down to, can the animal in which you are feeding whatever item to, diseased or not, can they consume such an item? Like, for example, chickens can only eat certain plant material. It will kill them. It's not safe for them to eat other material. If chickens or goats, whether it's diseased or not, then, if it's diseased and they can't eat it, then a no. If they can, it would depend on whether the plant's diseased and safe for the animal. Chickens cannot eat tomato leaves or green tomatoes. So if you're going to feed them late blight tomatoes or early blight tomatoes, you're going to kill the chickens. So it goes to the point of a lot of research on your end. Should or can the animal eat such item? And if they can, then can they eat such item that has diseased plant stuff on it? So I don't know if that, just be careful what you're feeding your chickens and goats or cows or pigs or whatever you are giving them. All right, Holly,
a phone call.
Yeah, let's go to the Proclamation Hotline, brought to you by Proclamation Goods. Dave, who is listening to us on the Word Cleveland, WHKW at 1220 AM and 96.9 FM, has a question for us.
My name's Dave. Wondering if it looks like next week I'm going to be on the go, out of town. Don't think I'll be able to listen to the show. Do you guys have any kind of audio archives I could tune back to, after Saturday of next week? If so, how do you access that? If you could tell me about apple trees. I got an apple tree across the street at a city bus stop, and then one in the backyard. They've always put out apples. This year, they're not having any apples at all, like nothing. I was just wondering if you guys knew what that was for. Is it because it was dry this year, or when there's a dry weather, does that make the apple tree kind of recoil and not make fruit?
All right. Well, Dave, we thank you for calling in. And there are archives available. You go to the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, and they are listed there in full show. I've got to update the segment portion of that. I've kind of got behind on that with other projects we've got going on with the show here and for next year, but they're always go under the season 6 tab at the top of the page. They are all in chronological order, as well as if you miss a show, you can send us an email to gardentalkradio@gmail.com and we will send you a link to said program that you've missed. And Holly, with the apple trees, there's a couple of variables that will determine whether or not the tree is going to fruit or not. And there's not a hard answer here, but there's several possibilities.
Right. So one thing is that if it was too cold at the time when the tree was blooming, it might not put apples on. So if you had a delicate balance there, or there's a delicate balance there, and if it's not the right conditions and it's too cold and those blooms come out and maybe they don't come up fully or whatever,
They freeze off.
Yeah. That's a problem.
And that's the problem down south and with a lot of the peach growers. That boy, we get warm spring and then we get a hard cold snap, and they've got to build fires and rent helicopters to keep the air circulating around the peach trees because it's cheaper to pay a couple of helicopters to fly around all night than to lose the whole peach crop for the year. So if it gets too cold, it will freeze those buds off.
Right. Another thing could be lack of pollination. So then that if there's a major lack of pollination for those apple trees, then they're not going to have the fruiting. Right.
Thank you for the question, Dave. Thank you for listening. And well, glad you do. Glad you listen. Where do I find good hardneck garlic, Holly?
You can go to jungseed.com. That's JUNGseed.com to use code 10TG22, the number 1010, T like Tom, G like George, or the Garden 22 to save 10% off your order. So yeah,
there you go. Hi there. I planted some sweet potatoes, some from the grocery store and some from an Asian market that I think were UBE purple sweet potatoes. I just harvested them and ended up with a big tub full. My question is, do the purple ones need to be cured? And I used a very large glass fish tank with grow lights and some plastic domes. I hope to try to grow cooking herbs in it. Well, that would work for the cooking herbs, and congratulations, you grew sweet potatoes. With any sweet potato, if you're going to use it right away, you don't need to cure it, Holly. If you're going to have long-term storage, then yes, you will want to cure it. Curing process for potatoes is typically a couple of weeks at 85 degrees Fahrenheit with 90 to 90% relative humidity for 4 to 7 days. Now, I know we all don't have precise environments in our homes for this, but this is what the best curing temperature is. After curing, reduce storage temperature to 55 to 60 and Fahrenheit to 80 to 85% relative humidity, and your sweet potatoes will be fine. Now, Holly, we've thrown sweet potatoes in every nook and cranny before, and they've done quite well just being in a crock with an open lid in the corner of the kitchen. So, yeah, if you're, I think this is more kind of if you got a whole field full of sweet potatoes, this might be a good plan to prolong the shelf life on them. But if you've just got a few, just put them in your kitchen in the proper place. I wouldn't put them in the fridge. I would keep them under a cabinet in a air circulated area of your kitchen. All right, here we go. I have several pickle buckets that I purchased. I have washed them very well, but can't get the pickle smell out of them. Can I still plant within them next spring, or do you think this will cause problems for my plants?
You can absolutely plant in them. You want to drill some holes in the bottom, especially along the sides. Every probably 8 holes on the bottom along the side of it. And yeah, then you can put your soil in there, compost, potting soil mix, whatever you got, and you can absolutely grow on them. It's not going to affect the plants at all.
Again, those were pickle buckets, food grade plastic. Now, plastic's plastic to some people, but if you're getting hydraulic oil for your John Deere tractor and you got a 5-gallon bucket after that, it may not be the best choice to use to grow your tomatoes, your peppers, your eggplants in, because that oil has infused into the bucket and it's not food grade. Yes, go ahead.
As a rule of thumb, if it's something that's edible, that you are that came in the bucket, container,
even though it's plastic.
Even though it's plastic, if it's something that is safe for human consumption and dog or cat consumption,
right? Because they get the plastic square tubs of
cat food or dog food.
Yeah. Now, what would you say on the big tubs of cat litter? Or would you recommend, even after you wash and scrub them out, would you say the cat litter is okay to use that bucket or not?
I think if it was unscented cat litter, it'd be okay because usually it's just like clay.
Okay, then. Right. Okay.
But if it's scented and then you can
infused in that plastic, it's like perfumed. Yeah.
I would avoid that. But if it's something that, you can eat, your pets can eat, etc., you can use those buckets. If it's something like Joy said, like the oil or, I don't know, like
industrial something or another.
Even just like maybe you are a crafter and you have like buckets of paint or glaze or something like that. Don't use that. just use something that is safe. Just keep that in mind. For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.